friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and I've got a Condor fixed blade for you again. Now, I've reviewed, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe this is the 5th Condor fixed blade or Condor knife that I've reviewed. I keep coming back to them, but I keep being at least mildly disappointed. Do I feel the same way about this knife? Well, we're going to find out. This is the Bushglider. It's a full tang, well, not a full tang, it's a full-length tang knife. Tang comes right out the back, but you don't see it on the spine, you don't see it on the belly of the handle. But it's almost an inch wide most of the way through this handle. So it's as strong as a full tang knife. 1095 carbon steel, high carbon steel. It's got a patina that they put on at the factory. It's got a, what is this? Polypropylene, high impact polypropylene handle, high impact polypropylene sheath with a little leather loop up here for your belt. That part is removable. I'll show you a close up later on. These parts are made in El Salvador. So no, not a Chinese knife, but is it a great knife? You want to find out? Stick around. We're going to go to the tabletop and take a good look at it. Boy, oh boy, have I had a crazy week this week. Just nuts. Tuesday, 9 p.m. We're just winding down, getting ready to go to bed. And my wife hears this little alarm. We couldn't figure out what it was at first, and then we figured out it was the moisture sensor, the one over by the water heater. So we walked over there. Yeah, there's water on the floor underneath the hot water heater. I figured the hot water heater had ruptured. So here I am draining the hot water heater. It's not draining properly because it's got so much calcium buildup. I've got to use the vacuum to suck the rest of the water out because I didn't want it just slowly leaking out, right? And I just couldn't keep up with all the water on the floor. I did that for about 18 hours before I realized maybe I should check the sump pump. You see, we had had rain, 6 inches of rain. A nice big rainstorm coming through on Tuesday. Started Monday evening, Tuesday, it kept going Wednesday. It's still been wet since then. I'm recording this on Saturday the 17th, is it today? Yeah, the 18th, Saturday the 18th. So for the last several days, been working on it. Yeah, our sump pump had gotten overheated from the heavy duty work that it just shut off. The breaker flipped. And so it was building up. So, whew, got lots to clean up. We might have lots of expense fixing the house. It kind of sucks. Anyhow, that's not what we're talking about today. Just sharing a little bit of my life with you. This knife, the Bushglider, there is a sibling knife to this made with the same sheath, the same handle, grip, everything, same steel, but a Scandi grind blade. Pretty much the same price. So if you don't like this blade shape, if this is the part you don't like, there is a Scandi grind version as well. I'll link both of them down below. This thing's under 50 bucks. Depending on what color you get, the one with the black handle right now at White Mountain Knives is $42.48 minus 10%, which is what, $4.28 less. So that's under 40 bucks for the black version. The other colors, there's several colors, are $45.88 before discount. So just over 50 bucks after your 10% discount. There's this tan, there's an orange, and there's a green color plus the black. All 4 colors for both types of blades. So that's the price range you're looking at. Make sure you use my coupon code CCE at White Mountain Knives to save 10% on anything that you buy there. If the discount code doesn't work for what you're buying, that means you're buying something that the company does not allow the vendors to put discounts on, like Benchmade. I'll tell you a secret. Don't let Benchmade know about this. I'll tell you a secret. Once you've made your purchase, email the guys at White Mountain Knives and let them know that you'd like the discount, and they'll refund you the 10%. Yeah, they will. The owner told me I could tell you guys that. This knife, like I said, we've got 1095 high carbon steel, and that's what it says right there. And right above it, it says Bushglider. It's not that easy to read right there. So Bushglider 1095HC, and on this side, it says Condor El Salvador. On the sheath, it also says Condor right there on that plastic loop. And right here it says El Salvador. There's their Condor logo. And there's the leather loop that's been riveted onto that piece of plastic. So that's how it's made. This comes loose because it wiggles. I know that it wiggles. So let me see if I can wiggle this loose. There we go. See, it's got two little divots. So it's sitting there. So if you'd rather just use it like this and stick it into a pack or something and save that space, hey, you've got that option. So, and what that also does is it means you can make this loop right or left-handed, whichever way you want. Doesn't really matter which way you put it on there. So, yeah, right and left carry friendly. So that's the sheath. There's a couple drain holes on the bottom. Forgot to say that before, so that's nice to have. So I guess Joe Flowers designed this. He took some inspiration from Mora knives and decided to make, you know, something equivalent, except for Mora doesn't really have much in the way of these kind of flat grind blades. They got a little bit. So looking at the blade specifically, we've got some big jimping up here, and then we've got a huge swedge, almost half the length of the knife. I do have to tell you, look at that swedge, look at that grind, and look at it on this side. It's a lot bigger on this side, isn't it? So it's not even quite down the middle, and you know, they're just quickly doing this in the factory. Some guys just pushing this against a belt or a wheel, probably a belt it looks like, and just grinding the swedges in manually. So you get that handcrafted look, and that's how these are made. These are handmade in El Salvador, the old school way. We've got a nice tip there for piercing. It's fairly thick at the tip, so it's not going to break easily. And then we've got the belly straight section here. There's a little plunge right there, and this is funny. I find this really funny. There's a tiny little sharpener's choil, but it's in the ricasso. It's not at the plunge. It's like they don't know what a sharpener's choil is for. Like, they just see that they're on some knives, but they've got no idea what it's for. I'm sure Joe Flowers knows what it's for, but you know, the guys at the factory seem to be clueless. So there you go. So that's the blade. I'll go through all the measurements, the thickness and all that stuff a little bit later. Here's the handle, and we've got that molded high impact polypropylene handle. We've got that checkered pattern for some texture on the grip on it. Just a little rough pattern here. You know, feels a little bit like sandpaper, but not rough. And the belly gets wider here, and looking down on it, it gets thicker here as well. So it's actually a very comfortable handle. I find this comfortable, very comfortable indeed. Any grip you want, it's a comfortable handle. The jimping's not terribly comfortable, but the handle's quite comfortable. And then at the end of the handle, we've got a lanyard hole. It's kind of rough, the edges here. I guess you could clean that up with a little chamfer on there. But then sticking out of the end of the tang of the blade is the steel coming all the way through. So you can use that steel if you need it to crush something. Not a problem. Plus, it's simply evidence that, yes, it's a full-length tang. Well, it's actually plus a full-length tang. So you can be assured that this is not going to break on you. The plastic here, if you live like where I live and it gets to minus 40 in the winter and you leave it outside every winter and leave it under the sun in the summertime, the plastic will degrade over time, but that's going to take quite a while. So that's pretty much what the knife looks like put together. Oh, by the way, a little Condor logo impressed in right there. So what's wrong with this blade? The main thing that's wrong with this blade, and I should tell you, it didn't cut all that well. I still haven't sharpened it. We've got a convex grind, so that's a rounded kind of grind. And the blade's just too thick. The sharpening on this, it's not super sharp from the factory. And because the blade edge is so thick, it just did not cut all that well. Piercing into, fleshy, soft kind of things, yeah, that worked just fine. You got a little bit of a guard right there. You can plunge into things, no problem, and it's quite strong. The slamming it into some softwood and prying with it with the tip, I did that a number of times. Yeah, no problem. It can withstand that as well. It's a strong outdoor light knife, and I'll go through all the weights a little bit later. And we've got that patina on it. Look at that. You've got browns and grays and sort of coppery kind of colors. I don't know what they put on there to force that patina, but it's on there. it looks okay. I don't mind the look. The main things I'd want to change on this thing is make it a little thinner behind the grind. Do you want to go through all the measurements and everything? Let's do that next. First off, the weight of this thing. The weight of the knife, 116 grams, 4.15 ounces. That's not bad. The sheath is 48 grams. That's including the belt loop part. That's 1.65 ounces. So combined, 164 grams, 5.8 ounces. Not bad. Not bad at all. The cutting edge length, 102.2 millimeters, 4.02 inches. Blade length tip to the closest spot of the plastic here, 110 millimeters, 4.33 inches. The thickness of the blade at the ricasso, the flat section, including at the spine, at the end of the handle, the butt, I do mean. This is 2.88 millimeters, 0.1135, so a bit under 1/8 of an inch. The blade depth, the widest point, is right at the heel of the blade, 23.5 millimeters, 0.925 inches. How thick is it behind the grind? The average thickness, and I measured it in about 4 places because it did vary quite a bit. Average thickness, 1.12 millimeters, which is 44 thousandths of an inch thick. The maximum thickness, and that's up here at the tip, is 1.54 millimeters, 61 thousandths of an inch thick. That's 3 times thicker than I'd like it to be. 3 times thicker than I'd like it to be. So yeah, it's very thick behind the grind. You got to be ready for that. The grind angles. Remember I said this is convex. On this side, it averages out to 26.2 degrees. On this side, it averages at 26.7 degrees. So this side started at 28.8 and went to 24.7. That's 4.1 degrees change along the length of the blade. This side started at 28.7 and went to 23.8. That's 4.9 degrees of change along the length. At least the guy's consistent. You know, this side, when he's sharpening, this side starts around 20, almost 29, and this side goes around to 24. Goes around 29, 24. So left to right, 29 to 24 degrees. Yeah, the handle now. The handle length is 120.2 millimeters, 4.73 inches. The thickness of the handle at the thickest part, 22 millimeters, 0.866 of an inch. The handle depth at the thickest part, 29.4 millimeters, 1.16 inches. The grip area, it's around 10 centimeters, 4 inches. It's a little bit over both of those numbers. The total length from the very tip to the end of the steel over here, 230 millimeters, 9.05 inches. So basically 4 inches, 5 inches, 9 inches altogether. The proportions are pretty good. So the specs are nice, except for how thick this thing is and how badly it's sharpened. It's a pretty good knife. I'm a little disappointed in how thick it is behind the grind, but it's fairly useful. Let me just show you again right now. Take a close-up of that. That's what it looks like right now with that convex grind. I'll put on a 20-degree angle all the way along using the 7.2 degree convex tool adjuster. I'm going to fix the sharpener's choil and put it in the correct spot. So take a good close look at what this looks like now. And I'm going to be fixing it. And then I'll tell you how well it sharpens. Okay, I've got it back from my sharpening. I made a sharpener's choil that's just barely big enough. Didn't want to make it too big. Can always increase the size later on. And like I said, I put that convex grind on it. I polished it a little bit. And now it got a best score of 45. So instead of 275, I got it to 45. Left that convex on it. It makes feather sticks like a dream. It's beautiful. Some of you might ask, why don't I show that stuff? I've got a whole video explaining why I don't show it, show the cutting and stuff. Mostly because it's prejudicial. Because the skill of the feather sticks has way more to do with me than it does with the knife. The skill of the user is a huge component in how well knives cut anything. So I could either make things look great or make things look bad. You know, maybe I'm having a bad day and it's a bit off and stuff today. I might make a knife look worse or better than it really is. That's why I try to stick to the specs, like how thick it is, all those kinds of things, because that doesn't change at all. If it's that thick, that's how thick it is. Just that's what it is. It has nothing to do with, you know, the skill of me. So yeah, it's still too thick behind the grind, but that tip pierces even better now. And I kind of like the convex grind. That's what Joe Flowers wanted on it, so that's what I put on it. I was thinking about doing a V grind, but nope. Put the other grind on it, nice convex grind. And I'm very happy with this knife, except for the same things I said before. It's way too thick. This is like a bulletproof kind of knife, not a finesse kind of knife. Like this is a brute force kind of thing, not a delicate kind of thing. So if that's what you're looking for, hey, why not get one? The price point certainly is right. It's a really good price point for a tang that goes all the way to the very end, actually out the end. Let's use that for other stuff. Yeah, it's a decent knife. Are you going to get one? Do you have one? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And, you know, otherwise just leave any comment at all. It really does help the channel out if you leave comments, if you share the video with somebody. I know you don't tend to do that, but maybe there's somebody in your life who's been asking about nice fixed blades. You could let them know. And there you go. And thank you everyone for supporting the channel in any way that you can. Huge thanks to those who support the channel financially. It really does help. It really is necessary, and I really appreciate it. And remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.